Hi there, I am Giuseppe Corcella from Virtual Orchestration, and today I'm going to review the Nørdic Cello by Have Audio. First of all, I want to thank Have Audio for kindly sending us a copy of the library to review. Nørdic Cello follows the Nordic contrabass in the Nørdic series by Have Audio. Compared to the contrabass, the GUI was completely redefined and the engine improved. It usually sells for 179 euros, but at the time of this review it's 125 euros as a part of the summer sales. As usual, I warmly suggest you to check out the Have Audio website and YouTube channel, as well as the manual, where you can find a lot of informations about all the secrets of this engine. It includes over 18,000 of samples. It requires the full version of Contact 6.5.2 or above, therefore it doesn't work with the free Contact player. Downloads via Pulse downloader and uncompressed size is 14.16 gigabytes. Nørdic Cello comes with one master NKI instrument, so you've got everything you need just in one place. This instrument is inspired to Nordic landscapes, so along with, let's say, more common articulations, you will find a lot of several other playing techniques that reminds to this world. The GUI is very nice, and also the color reminds to the main topic of the library. This big knob is called Ice. It is peculiar to the whole Nordic series, and basically what happens if you turn this up. First of all, you see that the GUI changes, the cello becomes frozen, and basically when you turn this up, you bring into the sound a lot of different sound design techniques that surround the sound of the cello you are playing, and gives you more this idea of Nordic frozen and infinite landscape. You can also assign all the parameters to a control change, and I really suggest you to try to assign both the dynamics and the ice knob to the modulation wheel. So as the dynamics increase, also this icy effect comes in, and you'll get a very particular sound. You can also add a reverb just inside the instrument. You have here a lot of different reverbs, both classical reverbs and also creative reverbs. And then you have also the delay, and you can change the length of the delay, and by moving this slider you will decide the amount of delayed signal you'll get, as well as you decide the amount of reverb by moving this slider. Here are the dynamics already assigned to CC1. You can also reverse the samples by clicking on this button, and here you have two sound sources, the DI and the mic. You can mix together, or just you can use one or the other alone, even if the DI maybe is more if you want to add an amplifier or some other kind of sound processor later. You can also warp the samples. Not all the articulations can be warped, and you can always check out the manual to know the limitation of the warping function. You have an arpeggiator here. You can activate it by clicking on this button, and you can decide the rhythm and also the steps, octave, the rate, and the behavior between up, down, down, up, and random. In the right bottom side, you can decide which playing techniques to use. or also which texture to use, and with this slider you can change the legato speed of the legato articulation. In the second page you have 6 racks of effects, and you can decide between EQ, compression, saturation, chorus, phaser and leisurely, and you have a few parameters for each kind of effect. Here you have an ADSR, so you can change the envelope shape of the samples, and also, and this is a quite interesting function, now you can drag a sample or a loop and create a new instrument using this engine. Now, as a demonstration, I will drag a sample inside this engine. This is a single note recorded using my upright acoustic piano, and this note of a different color is supposed to be the key corresponding to the recorded sample. And now let's just play a bit with this sample I imported, and you can see that it was stretched all over the keyboard. It's amazing, isn't it? I really like how this sample, which is just a dry piano sample, is shaped to become something completely different, thanks to this engine and thanks to the ice knob. Also, if you import a loop, you can synchronize it to your sequencer by clicking on this button. I just gave you a very simple demonstration, but you can really do a lot of things with this engine, and you can shape even more the samples you import by using the effects page, and also can add a reverb, you can add delay, but the very peculiarity of this engine is this knob, which really turns your instrument into something else and really reminds you of this icy and desolated landscape. It's a very powerful sound design tool in my opinion, so you can just turn a very acoustic instrument into a powerful sound designing tool. Also, let me just try how this sample I imported works with the arpeggiator. Okay, so now let's go through the articulations. We have here Legato, Harmony of the North, Staccato, Pizzicato, Tremolo, sliding fourths, sliding downs, and mixed articulations. This last patch includes a few of the most common articulations assigned to key switches you can see here on the yellow keys. So if you want to play the cello with different articulations on the same track, you can do that. And here you have a legato, staccato, long pizzicato, short pizzicato, harmonics, and tremolo. So let's start with the legato and see how it sounds. You can hear how it becomes more expressive when you both turn up the dynamics and the ice knob. Of course, you have to consider that if you turn down the dynamic, you also lose this icy reverberation effect. So it's totally up to you whether to use or not the ice knob along with the dynamics. Otherwise, you can also add a reverb here, and you will still have a bit of ambience even on low dynamics. You hear that the sound became wider, you are more surrounded by it, and also you still have an ongoing ambience also on lower dynamics. The next one is Harmony of the North. These are sustained notes, so they are not meant to be played as a legato, but maybe they are more suitable as the long notes and chords. You see that you still have key switches here, and these are assigned to sustain vibrato, bowed harmonics, and then there are two chords, Stillwater and Hendrix, and the last one is crescendo. You can also control the dynamics here with the velocities, while the dynamics seems to be more an additional volume. I think this patch works very well with the ice function. You can also use pedal for sustained notes. I really like the Nørdic Articulation and the crescendo one. In particular, the crescendo is very expressive, in my opinion, and then Hendrix features some peculiar playing techniques and very fragile playing techniques that reminds me of Nordic landscapes. Let's go now to the staccato. There are here also some key switches: Nordic staccato, harsh staccato, spiccato with bow tip, alter ego, and fast crescendo. I really like in particular the spiccato with bow tip. It sounds in a bit way between a staccato and a pizzicato. Even the Nordic staccato, it's quite harsh. Not harsh as the harsh staccato, but from my perspective, it's not a common staccato. So you see how the choices of this library are all focused on give you this kind of particular sound. Then we have the pizzicato. Also here we have some key switches: long pizzicato, short pizzicato, pizzicato harmonics, vibrato, pizzicato, slap, and fret noises and effects. I really like that if you bring up the ice knob when you stop playing, it still brings up the tail of the note you just finished to play, adding these kind of textures to it. I think it's a very lovely effect. Let's go with the tremolo. The sliding down articulation has 5 switches, descending fifths, descending minor sixths intervals, descending major sixth interval, descending major chords, descending minor chords. And the mixed articulations include 6 key switches: legato, staccato, long pizzicato, short pizzicato, harmonics, and tremolo, which are basically the main articulations included in the library, so you can easily switch between them while you are playing. Okay, let's go now to the textures menu. This includes some textures, transitions, extended techniques that can really add something interesting and new to your sound. They are body hits, bow textures, low engines, rises and bouncing, and I will just play a bit around with them so you can hear how they sound. In conclusion, I'd say this is a very good library. Of course, this library is not meant to be just an acoustic cello. You see that even when you have some, let's say, more common playing techniques, they are most focused on a way of playing that can switch this genre. So if you are looking for something different, midway between the acoustic world and the sound design world, I really suggest to consider this library. I am honestly very curious to see what Have Audio has in mind for future releases in this series, because I think this is a very peculiar series and I really like the idea of these instruments that reminds of Nordic landscapes and these icy panoramas. The ice knob is something amazing in my opinion. It really brings the instrument to life and it's actually the core of this instrument. You also have not only playable techniques but also expanded techniques, cello body percussion and rises. So it's a very complete library for this purpose. Also some articulations can be time warped and this really can bring you to have a lot of more sounding possibilities, because in some cases the sound really changes. The arpeggiator also works very well, especially with short articulations, and also the effects page gives you the chance to change the sound even more. The sample import engine is very simple but very powerful at the same time, and you can really import any kind of sample you want and create a kind of a new instrument using this library and its features, especially the ice knob. This is a very good library in my opinion, both for acoustic purposes and sound designing purposes, even if of course it goes more on the sound designing world, keeping in mind that this is not a common acoustic cello. I wouldn't use it for merely orchestral stuff or solo virtuosistic passages, but I think this works very well for underscore stuff, textural stuff, sound design, and it's really cinematic. So it's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comment, just let me know below, and if you want to support virtual orchestration, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to join our newsletter, don't forget to click on the bell icon on YouTube to get notified as soon as we release a new tutorial or a new review, and see you on the next one.